Hi. It is not afternoon, everybody. So this morning, earlier this morning, I had given a lot of information about the collapse, as in more of an individual issue that's caused a huge change. It's not a change in my life, it's the trajectory ended up going a certain way and leading me to a certain physical and mental. Let me grab a book, guys. I'm gonna turn the light on too. I'm going to books. Turn the light on here. I think it's in mirror image. I'm not positive. The body keeps the score. I have a hard time saying his name. Sorry, Bessel van der Kolk, MD. This book is divided up into many sections. Looks like we highlighted some. This book is something I didn't know it was from 2014. A lot of stuff in the book I feel is older. This person's, I believe, still giving continuing education webinars and courses up in Maine or Massachusetts, something like that. So the rediscovery of trauma, this is your brain on trauma, the minds of children, the imprint of trauma, paths to recovery, and there's acknowledgements, appendix, consensus, proposed criteria for developmental trauma disorders, resources, and further reading in the notes and the index. Does this have a notes for us or not? If I just wrote in the book. I was afraid to write in books and highlight after being a student and not getting any money when you have any markings in your books. So I hesitate to mark up my books. But now I mark up my books because it helps me to get it, not go through one ear out the other to come back. And it's like that kind of muscle memory, but it's more kinesthetic, I guess, because you're not doing a task, you're learning something. But this book, I feel, helps, and it has different therapies that this doctor used for people that were dealing with different things, where some people's physical body, like mine, is affected by events and traumas and experiences. And the difference, I think he goes into the difference between when you have that experience as a child, at least my mind goes there, where you're developing still, your brain, and we're always regenerating and building our bodies, but children literally go from, we start like this, and then we start out smaller than this, and some people end up 7 feet tall, literally. That book, nonfiction, has a lot of scenarios, and sometimes it was just a matter of wanting to break down, because you feel like this writer, Dr. van der Kolk, understands it, gets it, whether he had a personal experience or not. He understands, because he gave time and energy to people in different scenarios where there was seemingly hopelessness for their future or for their present even. And it's if you're in so much pain as I am from being hurt as a child, continuously being hurt, you feel like people are saying, why can't you just do something? Why can't you just change? Why can't you just do better, get better? And this book is saying, you're not intentionally saying, hey, I'm a victim. Hey, and I don't like when people say you're not a victim, you're a survivor. I can say I'm a survivor. But if somebody victimized you, someone did something to you, unfortunately, it's like if somebody punched you and you're in a boxing club and you end up with a black eye, you receive something because somebody else did something to you. And you can call it whatever you want to call it. And there's too many people that aren't trying to play a role. They're trying to survive. They're trying to make it safe for themselves and their kids. And some people adopt their nephews and nieces to get them so they don't have to deal with it. So the second part of the Body Keeps the Score is brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. So for this book, it took us about, I want to say 2 years to read it out loud. It could have been more than that. We read it out loud. We took turns reading, and that was an interesting family time. Some of the treatments so our one therapist told us to read the book, I think in 2019 or 2020, and then we finally bought the book and we finally started reading it. There's a lot of therapies in here, or treatments, and therapy treatments. I went all over the state to get these therapies, and I'm a customer from here to Oregon. B, I'm also a healthcare provider. I've tried to get any type of support. So I need to maybe shoot for the stars and reach the moon with this. I've tried to get any type of support, and the West Coast, it was nothing, except for when it was required by the Department of Human Services for the program I was in, that I put myself in. They kind of have they can kind of nudge people. They can call and say, hey, this is our client and they need to sign up for counseling. But it was all based on homelessness, which the homelessness came from always fleeing abusive people. So we didn't get to A, the root cause, those harmful people, and B, what did those harmful people do that made it hard for me, someone who was going to work every day, to not be able to come and get presented to receive an income, whereas I can afford to get myself an apartment, even if it's an efficiency, anything. For Pete's sakes, RV if need be. If I was making $200,000 somewhere in California, living in an RV. So today's first video talked a lot about being gaslighted and knowing the truth in your heart, doing things with a certain motive, but other people want to twist to make you look bad, and it jeopardizes everybody around them, like a tornado, and like a storm coming through, and the aftermath of the storm affects people, and dealing with these toxic people, for me, continue to put me in a bad place around others. And people could say, forget about others. And I had raised the concern earlier about being prepared and dealing with emergencies and helping others and being helped when you need to be helped, when nobody's there for you because they believe the lies, or maybe they just weren't there in the first place because the birds of a feather flock together. Alright? So I just ate some broccoli leaves. Really big, like kale looking broccoli leaves. So in the dehydrator center. Check. For this mid-morning or late morning video, I wanted to discuss why I'm eating the way that I'm eating. And the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit are all working together. It's all one body. And a lot of it stems from the abusive childhood that I dealt with. And I wanted some control over body changes that occurred in 2nd grade with my thighs getting bigger, and I literally beat my thighs I wanted to be thinner. I wanted to be healthier. I was sick all the time. So much that I never missed school except for like twice. Like once I missed because my grandmother died, and once I missed because I got hit in the eye with a football. And I probably missed some. I'm not sure. I know I missed some in maybe 4th or 5th grade, or was it 6th grade? I know I missed some days, like 2 other days. I'm talking from kindergarten to 12th grade. It's like I memorized. People talk about memory. You wonder why it's so hard for me to function. I remember the times that I was sick. I remember whose house I went to. I remember my mom handing the babysitter 2 liters of soda. Okay, I remember. It's almost too much. Like a monk. I wanted to change and be in control. And I wanted to find love, which I wasn't getting from my family, or if I was, then so be it, whatever. I knew I was seeking love, but it wasn't love. It wasn't unconditional love. It was the love that was lust. And I wanted to have attention directed towards me, and my body naturally went into puberty when I was between 5 and 6 years old. 5 and 6 years old, I had underarm hair. I just took a CPR course, and they talk about when are you considered a child and when are you considered an adult, or what pads do you use. If there's adult and children's size, they talk about puberty. So they're going to have someone wearing size 6T and 5T clothing. That's only how old are little kids? 2 feet tall? I can't even think. I mean, I guess babies can easily be 21, so it gets 3 feet tall. Sorry about that. I should know that. I'm a doctor. We had to do it in inches, so I do it in inches on my EHR, so sorry about that. Knee-high no grasshoppers, my teacher would frequently say. I would have been too small, I assume, for the adult pads if someone was doing CPR on me, but I was pubescent, and I heard an article that I cannot quote, guys, that told everybody that there was potentially a connection between not getting enough care from the dad and having your body mature and attract men, because that's a natural cycle of life. The animals will do it. Your pheromones, your body, we're trained and instinctually think of as attractive, as far as attractive being able to, this is only for hetero or bi, being able to procreate. Okay. And there's a tension that was love of your family member, care, and love and support. Your body's attention shifted to lust, lusting after other people, waiting for strangers to come by and maybe pull over and pick me up. That's how I was. Older than 6, but there was some very awkward years, and this occurs with, especially with women that are, subcurt occurs with boys, so I'm a boy. With women that were tall as girls, or their breasts developed a certain way, there's a lot. So I was scared to be heavy because my parents didn't want me to be. And they said that to me and or about me when I was listening. So the 17 magazine, the Ebony magazine, everybody had super straight hair in the Ebony magazine. And I don't think we had the Essence. We had the 17 and the Ebony were subscriptions. So this body that I saw in the mirror did not reflect the bodies that are on the covers and inside these magazines. So I started getting Jillian Michaels' TV show on ESPN, I think. And I wanted to do, one of my athletic classmates was doing Taekwondo, so I started that. Was in sports, starting formally. I had to cut my nails and get rid of my jewelry. In 8th grade to do volleyball, got cut from basketball, but did volleyball, and then continued volleyball for 3 more years, track and field for 4 years, tennis for 4 years, and then back to Taekwondo, or no, it was karate club, first year of school, and then I got my butt pretty much kicked. I actually, you know when you just punch and you kick right in their chest, and the referee doesn't call it? But every time it's like they punch and kick you and you block it and they get the point, that something didn't seem right. Like, it was, I quit. I think I should have called for a second opinion on them. Because, I mean, I was like, what? I felt stupid, but I knew in my heart that they did the same thing to me in tennis when the other team. There's a lot of times I'm the only black person on these teams and doing these competitions, and they can make up stuff because they are not wanting you to beat somebody. And could you imagine if I would have been in the Olympics or something, but I got false calls on me? Could you imagine? I mean, I'm not the best at sports, but I know when the ball lands in the line and when it lands out. You know, I didn't even need glasses back then. Sometimes it's very obvious. You're standing in the middle of a tennis court and it hits the person's toe, and I'm going to call that out? No, come on. So I was homeless when my mom and mother-in-law died, spring of 1998. Had no food. I did have a little bit of food once in a while, and I don't know how we dealt with water because we had a bunch of animals. I read these stories about people lost in the desert. I got lost in the desert, and I'm here to tell you about it, to be able to tell you. I'm not going to tell you right now. I think I've shared it before. And I had a history of having bad stomach aches, earaches, sinus issues, just sore throats all the time, and had issues drinking tap water. I had issues eating salad dressing. It's like I could eat my dinner and feel okay, and then I eat the salad at the end with the blue cheese dressing, like Wishbone brand or something. I would get sick. And then I used that to my advantage for my weight goals. Trigger warning, right? And when I would exercise, I was kind of combo, kind of anemic, but kind of bulimic, and I over-exercised. And I was scared. I still, even today, I'm scared to drink a lot of water, even though I need to carry the water around all the time. But I'm scared to. I also had an issue having to use the toilet, urgency and frequency. So I got some books from one of the relatives who actually was abusive, but they had gotten some books that I had left about health, and I had asked for a weight machine. We had a treadmill, exercise bike, and I asked for a weight machine. We had some little hand weights, and I remember they were designed for women, the ones called Smart Bells, little light weights instead of the dumbbells. They had Smart Bells. We had it was, I don't know if it's a rowing machine that's on a track, kind of like one you mail order or something. We had a trampoline in the basement. Most of this was in the basement, except for the treadmill, and then the TV shows, they were doing step, and I would run up and down the stairs. And then one of my friends got me on the base doing step aerobics. And then I was in sports, so we were doing a lot of swimming through gym class. So I was really athletic. I was always hovering right under 130, and I was appalled. I did not want to be 130 or over. I joined a weight loss group, and someone that was like 400 or 500 pounds looked at me and said, "Your goal weight should be your weight that you were in high school." And I was like, I had eating disorders when I was in high school. So when you look at my height and not my body type, my goal weight is between 130 and 150. So one weight loss one neighborhood group let me have a doctor's note. You had to have a doctor's note for your goal. I said 130 to 150. I was going to choose. The next group I went to, they said you can't just have that. You don't qualify for anything. You need a goal weight. So I think I had it set at 140. And what's interesting, a lot of other people had their goal weights at like 175 and 165 that were like my height. And so I was like, oh, this is making it hard. Because if you get your goal and you stay on goal, you can only go, you get kicked out of a certain area. I think you go 7 over and 3 under, you get kicked out. So if you lose 4 pounds, you're going to lose your status. If you gain 8 pounds, you would lose your status. So that's even more intimidating than losing weight as a group. Anyone who gained weight made the group not eligible to be in the magazine for 0 weight gain that week. So it was really intimidating. It was more than just self weigh-in and self-reflection. It was like the Marines, like if you don't do something, the whole, it says picked up. I wonder if somebody picked up my package. Picked up. I have to go to the post office and pick it up. Anyways, I was trying to change my diet. I was trying to maintain some sanity by using nicotine and trying to erase my feelings. I started doing that before 5th grade with not nicotine, with anything I could find, and then starting the alcohol. So when I was homeless, going across the country with the animals, I had very low food, and I remember having some sort of appetite suppressant or something that I received, that I bought from a doctor, even though I was under 130, because I couldn't let myself get to that. When I started dating in 2019, I was the lowest I was around 128. So I actually was back to my high school weight. But my skin was not brown, it was grayish, and I was kind of like more angry, like laughing more now. So I remember being homeless and taking this medication, and I ended up getting super hungry right away, and then it felt like my gut was falling apart, and I was homeless and poor, and I remember going into the glove box looking for ketchup packets, and I was just trying to get any type of food. So when I talk about dieting and metabolism, from the eating disorders to the homelessness and near starvation to the certain, stimulants like caffeine and, like legal stuff, nicotine. If you drink, you get dehydrated, you crave fatty foods, but I was active, running around campus before I was homeless, riding my bike and skateboarding. What happened to that bike, by the way? Anyways, it's probably up in Michigan right now. So I just wanted to eat like my mom made food for my kids, but I wanted to make food like my mom did for us, for my kids. But we didn't have that amount of money, so it was, instead of a whole bunch of entrees and side dishes, it was like a couple things. So a meat, a starch, veggie.